Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Shadowcast, the podcast discussing all things hidden in the shadows. I am the living shadow as I take the hair tie out of my hair. And today is going to be a different episode. I say that almost every episode, so I'm not really sure what a standard episode even looks like anymore. But hey, plus I'm also going to try and look directly into this camera as I set this up and not at the screen. Especially since I'm recording on my iPad, because it's the only thing that actually has storage left on it. So, okay. Let me get my thing together. Hopefully this video will upload. I don't know. I've had such an issue with uploading video lately, it's not even funny. They need to fix this iPad camera. I'm just going to put that out there. Put the iPad camera on top of, especially the big ones. Like I have the 12.9 inch one. Like, they should put the camera on the top of the horizontal view, not the vertical view, or at least in the corner. Like, at the very least, put the freaking thing in the freaking corner, so that if you're using it vertical or horizontal, it doesn't really matter. Like, that really bothers me that it's right here and I'm like staring at it. Yes, it is good for Face ID sometimes, but it's like, at this point, it's literally bigger than the smallest MacBook. Like, just put it up there where like the MacBook camera is. That's like a side rant. Anyway. Oh, hold on. No. I know what I was going to talk about. So I was going to talk about a couple different things. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the Shadowcast, the podcast discussing all things hidden in the shadows. I am the living shadow. Thank you for joining me. Also, check out the livingshadow.me for all your assassin apparel and anything else you might need. Bookings, coachings, consultations, all those types of things. So, this has been a rough one for me. The last couple weeks, I could not stay where I was currently residing because of the energy. I'm that person, I feel things, and I don't even like to say that what I'm feeling, or what I was feeling where I was at, I could not, I just couldn't stay there. So I'm in a hotel room. If you're looking at the video for this is a hotel room. Hopefully the video actually uploads for this and saves. I'm recording it on the iPad today, which needs to move their camera placement, but anyway. The last two times I did video, it would not do. So if you were looking for the last two episodes, they have been recorded. They're audio only. There's about a 10-minute segment of the video of the last one for non-singularity. But as far as for video, some people want to see video, some people don't. It's, hey, I'm just letting you know, inform you of the news here. A lot of things have changed and a lot of things have not. I think the biggest thing I want to talk about today has been just so much. Like, there's so much. And it's so crazy because it's like there is and there's not. So I really want to talk about just the state of the world, in a sense. At least the state of my world, possibly. This has been so much. I see so many things and I see so many people, and there's been so many, like, just changes in perception, I guess is what I'm trying to get to. That's the real words I'm trying to say. Changes in perception. Changes in perception of how stuff is viewed and how it is not. Upon exploring trauma and things like that, I've come to understand just how controlling women in my life have been, how controlling feminine energy has been, how manipulative. Also how manipulative even deceased and passed over people can be. And I'm not even trying to be funny about that. We're talking about what's in the shadows. There's a lot of deceased people who are very controlling. Like, I don't want to say like a walking spirit, but they might be a walking spirit. These people, like, these are energies who, I guess, did not live out their full life on Earth and are not able to pass on because they want to live through somebody else. But like live through somebody else, I like literally, as in like they want to jump in your body and live through you. I've had an encounter with that now twice. I'm not very, I don't like it. It's not, this has not been fun. They're not like friendly. I want to show you something. They were really just trying to like take over. It's very, very, they don't let you have any privacy at all. Like, it's just, I don't even know how to put it. Like, I've also come to find out about a lot of women being very, very manipulative. If you check my channels, you would see, at least my tarot channel, it's definitely been a thing for a while where just to see grandmas who were trying to get like promote people having children. It's very, very disgusting. And it's not disgusting in that people having children, because whatever, have your kids, those are blessings if you so choose to have a kid. My thing is, it's disgusting because they were trying to force it, and there was no, this is a hard topic for me, okay, and I can't smoke in the hotel room, so like bear with me through this one. This one might be a rough one, but it just manipulative energies. Okay, so I really want to talk about that, especially when it comes to children. They're talking about this and don't say gay bill. That's also a thing that's in the news. Like, you talk about people don't want to talk about gay or trans stuff for like little kids or babies until they've like grown up enough to do something. I think the age was 6, if I'm not mistaken, the cutoff, which is like kindergarten, which is, that's when I first experienced even having a conversation about that type of stuff, my personal self. So to me, I don't feel like I've been horribly stunted because I didn't talk about, transitioning before then or anything like that. The hard part is this, when people try to manipulate children. And I think that this is like, because that bill in particular, I feel like is made up by people who think that people would manipulate children into becoming something else that they don't want to be. But in all actuality, I feel like so many people manipulate children in general anyway. Like, we have this society, and I talked about this in a couple episodes ago when I talked about, I think it was ancestral respect. And I was talking about like grandparents and how they want to basically make someone have a kid, or they want to be like the raiser of the kid, seemingly though primarily because they just want to control the kid. Like, a lot of these people have kids and they don't think about the child's life, or they promote having kids without thinking about a child's life. You see this all the time. Republican side people, they know abortion, but they don't give you anything to take care of the child if the child actually comes here. If anything, they fight to make sure you have a kid, and then you leave that kid basically homeless and destitute. So, I've just come to really see how much like humans, and I wouldn't say that for animals as much. I don't think animals really do this as much, but humans really are extremely neglectful with children. Like, extremely neglectful. I'm not even trying to be funny about it, but they're really extremely neglectful with children. They have kids basically because most of them, it seemed like they just want to have little servants, and maybe it's because I was raised by black people, I don't know, but that's what it really comes off as. They want to have little servants, and they don't really care about their child's life, future, identity, brand, anything. Now, one thing that struck me is that you see a lot of people who are like famous or whatever. I guess it just depends on how you look at it, because I think so many people look at things in completely different ways, and I'm coming to a deeper understanding of that now, that like someone who you may put on a pedestal is someone that someone else may think is trash, basically. Moral of the story, point blank in the period, okay? Um, but one of the things I was like noticing is that a lot of the people who have any form of success or people look up to in general had some sort of support, either from their family or from loved ones or from somebody, right? They had support in their endeavors. I don't see that much with children. I don't, especially black children. I'm going to be very, very honest by saying that black people do not support their children. They're so busy trying to make them do whatever the fuck they want them to do, they do not support them. And maybe this is just the environment I was raised in, because I see this over and over again for a lot of different people. Where it wasn't, I want to help you be happy. It's more, I want to help you be what I think you should be. And there was no consideration behind what the child actually wanted. And I can speak to this about my own personal life too. That's very much how I was raised. I was raised to be codependent. I was not raised to be independent, and I'm not codependent, so it makes it even worse because they didn't, the brainwashing didn't work on me, basically. They did not want, they don't, like, I was raised in a household where basically me wanting to do things by myself, for myself, alone, which always is like very controversial and whatever. Like, my granny told me I had a demon because I didn't want to, like, I don't want to sit there with you all day. Like, I don't. I'm not that person. I don't want to sit here and look at you all day. I don't. Like, that's just me as a person. Maybe I'm introverted. I don't know. But what I see for a lot of kids is that, like, kids don't have choices in a lot of things, you know? Like, especially if you're really, really small. They don't have choices for a lot of things. And so many people want to dictate their lives of the child, but they're not even trying to ask them. Like, it's so weird. Like, this is also part of where I grew up, because of how I grew up. Because I grew up with people who don't ask; they just demand and tell you things. Like, the woman who adopted me, she doesn't even like ask for things. She points or she demands it. Like, give me this, or she points at it, or she'll do something. Like, she doesn't ask. She's never asked. Like, I've known her for over 20 years now. I'm going on 30. I'll mention it, but she don't ask. Asking is not a thing she does. It's not her forte. It's not a thing. She doesn't ask. She demands. And do this. Do that. Get this. Go there. Take this way. Like, it doesn't like, oh, can you do this? Or it's not even like a part of her vocabulary at all. Like, it's just not in her vocabulary. She does not do that. Like, and it's really slave, like, it's slave driving, slave work. I consider it to be just slave driving, basically. So, and again, like, I'm not smoking, so I feel like I'm off topic more when I don't smoke than when I do. But I see so often in kids where they don't have choices to do anything, and they don't have choices to be anything. So many people are trying to force and pressure them to be this and that and do whatever else. They don't even get to live their own life. And upon further examination of my own life and how I've taken the turns I've taken, and why I feel like I'm so dissatisfied with my own life, and it's because I followed the other people's advice. I did what they said I should do. I didn't stand up for myself like I wish I did. I didn't stand up for myself and say, no, fuck you. I'm not doing what you want me to do. I'm doing what I want to do. I almost never did that in my life, and I hate my life because of it. Real shit. CEO, business owner. I hate my life because even though I'm running a business, it does not mean I like my life. I feel like that's like, I don't know if someone else goes through anything like this or not, but I'm telling you right now that it's not. It's not because if you have a business, all of a sudden you will love your life. That's not anything about what I'm trying to promote around here. But what I've definitely noticed is that killing dreams, but there's so many dreams that I've killed, I will empathy, it's like it kills the empathy behind it. Like, my dreams got killed, and I almost don't care to see other people achieve their dreams, and I also don't care when other people's dreams get killed. I don't, because the people like repeatedly kept killing my dreams over and over again. It's not even funny. Like, things I want to do, like, I was always told not to do what I want to do what someone else wants me to do. It was never like I was never first in my own life. I'll put it to you that way. And I see, especially in my readings, things like that, where a lot of people want to have kids or talk about having kids, and it's like, are you even putting this child first in their life? Like, you have a kid, are you having a kid so that child can actually have a life? Are you actually trying to bring life into the world, or are you just trying to control something? Because I see so many people who are really just trying to control something. It's like a pet, or like an animal, or what, like they're just trying to control something. They just need something to control in their life. It's like, oh, I know, I'll just give birth to a little mini human, and then I can control the little mini human. It's like, you can just go buy a robot, you know? They have drones. They have robotics kits. I did robotics kits. Like, go buy a robot. Like, really, even Elon Musk and Tesla, they're having those little iRobot things. I don't know what they're calling them anymore. I forgot. But they look like little iRobot things. So if you've ever seen that movie iRobot, that's what they look like. Except they're like, black from the neck up and white from the neck down, or shoulder down, I guess I should say. It's like, we see all this stuff for technology and stuff like that, and a lot of people say, oh my gosh, the apocalypse, robots are taking over, but it's like, humans have failed. I think humans are a failed species. I really do. And it's highlighted by how we see them, even today, still treating their children the same way. Like, they're not, like, they're an accessory. Like, they're not a person. So when this person turns, it's like, when you have this little mini person, even on day one, and you know this person's gonna, if unless you plan on killing your child, or you're planning on your child dying before they become fully grown, it's like, okay, this child's gonna become fully grown and have their own life of their own, hopefully, I wish. But like I said, with my parents and stuff, it was very clear to me I was not supposed to have a life of my own. Like, I was not supposed to. It still struggles for me to. I'm going to be very, very candid and honest in here. It still struggles for me to get this business off the ground, do these bookings, things like that. If y'all ever see me with money, it's not because of the business. I wish it was. Like, I wish my business brought in money. It does not. I'm still in the hole. I just got started. I'm a new business owner, but I'm in the hole, which I think is, I don't know if that's common or if it's not. I've looked at other stuff. Some people say it is common. Some, you hear you see all the success stories on the news and things like that. People who got like all these millions of dollars real fast. These get rich quick. I don't know. I don't want to say get rich quick schemes, but I guess what I will say is that I see a lot of people. The people who I see have some form of success, or like noteworthy success, have had support from people, like. But as a society, I don't necessarily see support happening for a lot of different people, especially Black people. I'm going to be very, very honest about that. If you look at the video of the podcast, the Shadowcast podcast on YouTube, I'm going to upload this. Hopefully, the whole video will let me upload it instead of just partial. But you can see I'm Black. I have a darker skin tone. This is another reason why I'm speaking about this, because Black people do not help Black people. It's just been a thing. It's proven throughout, it's just been proven. And I don't know if it's the area I live in, if it's a different thing, but they don't. And even, it doesn't even matter, we're separate, light skin, dark skin, different parts of the world. I'm a spiritual person. I apparently I was born to have, by checking out my birth chart and things like that, which I'm not going to divulge in here, I was born to have different, spiritual things going on. I'm supposed to, do stuff. I've been told several times over there's been a curse on me. Someone tried to put a curse on me. Someone in Africa tried to do, some kind of work on me, whatever, blah, 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 blah. I don't know what they did. Don't really want to know. My question is, so if you see somebody being born like this, I guess, why would you put work on them? To do what? Binding spells or whatever. It bothers me so deeply that even from the, from the moment you're born, you get crucified. And we hear this so much, whether it's religion, whether it's spirituality, whether it's psychology, because a lot of people are born with trauma, whether that's not often discussed. A lot of people have inherent trauma just from birth. Some people, birthing can be a traumatic experience, and then like you get here, and then you get really, it's like you get further traumatized because you're not able to have any freedom in your own life. And I say that because, I mean, even Whitney Houston, what about the children? Like, it's so clear to me that people don't care about kids. So I really think that humans are a failed experiment. And I say that because you see so many people be manipulative. I'm reading a book right now. It's called it's not How to Get Away with Murder. It's called A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. That's the book I'm reading. It's good. I'm already halfway through it, and I bought it like 3 days ago. And it has a sequel in the car. But I was reading it, and one of the things it was talking about was like this family dynamic that they had, and it's now granted the people in the book were not black, but and I think that's a good thing for this conversation. But I just want to point out that a lot of this happens in black families. I don't see it as much in white families, but it depends. Maybe just my area, I just don't see it. But hey, I'm just telling you. So, but in the book, the dad for one of these families was a complete psychological nightmare. I mean, even from just reading the pages, you could just tell he was a psychological nightmare. Like, he was not the type of person that you would want to deal with. He's the type of person that he definitely could use a psychological profile, definitely could use some sort of, like, he could, I don't know if he would benefit from sitting down with a therapist, because he seemed like he was pretty chauvinistic and stuck in his ways, but he definitely was traumatizing the kids and the wife over and over again, when he's just seemed like narcissistic personality to me. Of course, I'm not a full psychologist. I can't diagnose anybody with anything like that. I'm just saying, or whatever you have to be to diagnose people. I don't have a degree to diagnose people. I'm just based off my life and what I've seen. It seemed like he had a very narcissistic personality, constantly trying to make everybody around him feel bad, especially his family members, and tried to play it off as a joke. It was just belittling people. It was horrible. But from that, what I seen was that he basically was trying to make his the kids, even in the story, and I don't know if that's like based off of a true story or not, to be honest. I have to really look that back up. But I see all the time where they have these people who are so controlling, like, and it's not necessarily have to be controlling as in like, I need you to go here at this time in this spot and act this way. It's more of the emotional abuse and the pressure. Now, one thing I liked was that book highlighted that was a thing that happened. But it's very much like, you get here, you get on Earth, or whatever planet you're on, because at this point, I don't even know anymore. I'm telling you, I have not smoked, I'm not lost in the sauce, but so many people tell me so many different things, and so many different, I look at so many different things, and so, like, it's just, whatever, it's just confusion town. Confusion. Hold on, let me get my drink, 1 second. I told you I don't have a blunt, so I don't have liquor either. This is just ginger ale, cranberry ginger ale. I wish I had some vodka in it. That would probably be a party starter. But I see so many times where there's so many children who like, they just don't have a choice in life. Like, if I see me in somebody, it terrifies me, because I know how fucked up I am, if that makes sense. Like, they say you attract what you are, and I don't. It's like, I don't want to attract people because I feel like I'm completely fucked up. So when I see people who remind me of me, I'm like, oh, I know you're fucked up because you remind me of me. So you have to be fucked up, because I'm fucked up. And, like, I was talking to my one friend this week earlier as well, talking about how black people don't support black people's, like, businesses and stuff like that. Like, I've had many people who claim to be my friends and will not support me in any of my business ventures at all. They just won't. They just won't. Like, you're not my friend. You're not. And they'll buy something from somebody else they barely know, and then come and meet and talk to me and complain about how the thing they bought from someone else that they know, or someone else they trust, was all fucked up, and this is that, and I was trying to support this other person, but they wouldn't support me. It's like, no, you're not really a friend. I'm just saying that, to be honest. But what I've seen is that, like, that's like inherent in people in general, like not to support each other in the trauma bonds and trauma and emotionally abused people. Like, that to me is emotionally abusive to me, to sit there and say that you support me and you're my friend, and go and do something else for somebody else that you know I was looking for, needing, and asking to be done for me. And I see it so much, and even in spirit I've seen it happen so much. Like, I basically had to yell at so many different people and things, and because it's like, the things I see that I want for my life, I see so many other people have, and it's not out of jealousy, it's out of just sheer, okay, so how did this person get this, but not me? But you claim that there's nothing wrong with me, but yet you act like there is. So much emotional abuse, and that was basically what the guy did in the book. That's why I'm bringing it up, but I see that with kids so much. It's like, well, let me just emotionally abuse the kids so that they don't. It's like, oh, there's nothing wrong with you. It's like people telling the kid, there's nothing wrong with you, but I just don't want you to do anything that you want to do with your life. Like, that's what I repeatedly see. That's what repeatedly happened to me. That's what I repeatedly see in other people. I don't want to, like, attract people with that, but I mean, I'm definitely gonna say something about it, because I see it, especially saying something now as opposed to saying something then, which I wish I could have said something then. But so often it's like, well, like, let me get an example real quick to tell you what I'm talking about. So, for instance, say you want to go to the zoo, right? But your parents don't want to go to the zoo. So instead of just saying, go to this, instead of, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I see happen is, say there's a kid who's maybe like 5 years old, wants to go to the zoo, okay? Instead of saying, oh, well, go with this other people or see if someone else will take you to the zoo, or like, and having friends go, or just the parent just like, oh, I'll just, pick a day and just go anyway and just walk around the zoo. They just emotionally manipulate the child into, like, believing that the zoo is horrible. Like, the zoo is horrible. The animals are dead. They're not even real. Like, they're puppets. Like, it's like that's the type of stuff I was raised with, and I see, and I still continue to see, where it's not even like, just because someone doesn't want to do something, they like downplay and devalue everything about the thing they don't want to do and participate in. So now, like, and imagine, like, this is a kid. So kids don't process that it's just, oh, my parent just doesn't want to go. They just really think they will probably believe whatever the fuck it is you told them. So if you over here saying, oh, the bears are fake at the zoo, they're not real, blah, 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 they're all just animatronic robots or whatever, it's like, that kid's going to probably think there's a real, like, robots at the zoo. You know what I mean? Like, I've seen stuff like that, and it's like, and the parents like, oh, I was just harmlessly lying. It's like, that's not a harmless lie. And it's probably harmless for you. It's not harmless for that child at all. That child most likely believes you, especially if they're small enough. And I'm not, like, it shouldn't be like, if a child is naive. Of course, children are supposed to be naive. That's kind of the point. But my thing is, why have a child if you're not prepared to do those things? And there's so many people who like, oh, I want you to have a child. And like I said before with the grandmas, like, maybe like the parent doesn't want to, but the grandparent or the person above the actual parent was like pressuring them to have a kid. And it's like, a lot of the problems that I feel like I see, even in readings or just with other people psychologically, have stemmed from the simple fact that they were forced to do something they did not want to do for someone who did not care about their well-being. Like, so that kid, like, imagine now you're like, let's say you're 20, right? You've never been to the zoo because now you're afraid of seeing the robot bears. And someone talks about going to the zoo, you're talking about, oh, they're robot bears, and everybody's laughing at you, and you're like, what is so funny? You're like, they're not robots. Like, well, I was always told they were robots. And it's like, well, who told you that? My dad. Because he didn't want to take me to the zoo, I guess. You know, I mean, like, you may not even be able to process that that was the reason why. Because it's like, why would you tell such an egregious lie? But there's some people who do this, who tell us like egregious lies like that to children. Bully children, emotionally manipulate children, because they just don't like. You shouldn't, like, to me, it's just like, if you're that person, if you have to like come up with that big of a fable as to why you can't go to the zoo for a 5-year-old, then you shouldn't have had the 5-year-old. Like, you should just, like, there's birth control that's out there, condoms, things that just don't have the kid. You know what I mean? And it's like, I keep seeing pressure from people to have kids, and I just don't understand why. I felt the pressure myself to have kids, and I've gotten that over and over again. I just don't understand why. Like, to me, if you're not psychologically prepared to have a child or financially prepared to have a child, you should not be having a child. That's just point blank, period. That may be controversial to say that. It shouldn't be to me, but whatever. Hey. But I see that a lot. I see that a lot with people who are doing that, and they don't consider the child's life, the child's emotions, the child's feelings. Emotional and mental abuse has been completely neglected, especially in children. So many people want to talk about, oh, this adult is fucked up. Oh, this adult is fucked up. Is the adult fucked up? Or had they always been fucked up as a kid? I don't want to bring up celebrities or anything like that, but there's people who, like, you know, you see news stories of this person went and did this crazy thing, or you see some Karens out there. I don't know if you ever see, like the Karen archetype people, not actual people named Karen, although sometimes there's some people named Karen who enact the Karenicity. But you see these people who have these, like, crazy ways of thinking and going about and doing life that just doesn't make sense. Like, this one lady who sat there and, like, who sat in front of a car and said someone ran over her, and she's sitting in front of the car and she's being recorded, and she knows she's being recorded. Like, she's yelling into the camera that's recording her, telling them that she's being ran over when she clearly has not been ran over. Like, but I see that and I'm like, okay, so, like, yeah, she clearly has a problem, but why? But they say it with the context, with the inflection, with the tone that she has a problem now as an adult. But not with the I guess reflection that she could really have had that problem as a kid. She could have been a compulsive liar, a pathological liar, and she could have started doing that since she was a kid, and it could have been brought on by her parents. You know what I'm saying? But people are like, oh, well, you're an adult, you take responsibility for that now. If you weren't even taught that as a kid, because apparently, like, the dad who teaches you about robot bears at the zoo is not going to take responsibility for shit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, people can't be taught something they don't even know themselves, and it's become, to me, to a certain point where it's like, well, don't even have the kid if you don't know these things. Like, if you're not mature enough, don't have the kid. Like, just don't. And I don't mean like birth control or anything like that, but it's like, you know, I guess I'm tired of seeing mentally, psychologically fucked up people. And there's so many mentally, psychologically fucked up children who are quiet. They don't speak about it. Children don't, and some children don't even know that they get fucked up. You know what I mean? But I'm telling you, this iPad camera is like bothering me. I'm sorry. I'm really trying to look at the camera, but then I'm like, oh, it's not up there, it's over here. I see that so much, and I'm so tired of it. I'm so sick of it. Like, the concept that we have about children and about being yourself. Like, I get some children don't know who they are. Like, some people are born knowing who they are. Some people find out who they are through experience. But we have so many people who don't even allow you to find out who you are by experience. They don't want you to mess up. One of the things I also see in that book was something I also see that was very, very common, where the child wanted to go do something, The mom was like, I don't think they should be doing this, blah, blah, blah. And the dad was like, just let if it's a mistake, let them make the mistake and let them learn from it. And the mother's like, well, I just don't want them doing this because I have a problem with it. And like, but it's not your life. Like, I see that with a lot of women in general. Like, it's not your life. Stop trying to control someone else's life. It's not yours. You control your own goddamn life. You know what I mean? Like, if it's not your life, then stop trying to tell someone what to do with it all the goddamn time. Like, women have a real problem with that. I'm going to be very, very honest. They're very, very manipulative, especially emotionally. All the time. Like, and it's funny to me because, like, they think it's, like, cute or quirky or something. Like, there's so many things where, like, women think it's really cute or quirky to be emotionally manipulative and, like, oh, well, it's that, like, and this is to me personally. Now, whether you agree with me or disagree with me, that's a whole personal, whatever. You have your opinion. I encourage you to have your own opinion all the time. What I see is like, like how people are like, oh, I dropped the pencil so that, like, I dropped the pencil so that Ricky can pick up the pencil for me. It's like, so why do you just not talk to Ricky? Like, I'm that person. I'm like, you could, if you want to date Ricky, ask Ricky out. If you want to marry Ricky, propose to Ricky. Don't be trying to do all this manipulative tactics to try and get someone to do something and play these little cat and mouse games. It just pisses me the fuck off. Truly. Honestly. It does. Like, I'm going to drop the pencil so then when Ricky comes by, he has to pick it up and he has to talk to me and then I have to make him ask me to give him, like, girl, all this energy you put in to try and make someone else do something that you want done, you could just do it your goddamn self and be done with it. But I still see these old ways. It's so gross. Like, even even when I do the tarot card readings, like, I still see these old ways of, I guess if you're a feminine energy or a female, these people still wanting men to, like, show up with the bag. Like, I don't like that. Like, oh, I want, like, I'm looking for a rich dude. Okay, but are you rich? No. Okay, so then why are you looking for a rich dude if you ain't got there? Not to say, that makes sense as to why, but it's like, but you're not, what are you doing to contribute? It's very unbalanced. It's very unhealthy. But it's unbalanced on the part, to me, a lot of times these relationships are on women. And a lot of these women want to have kids. I think more so than men do. Men do want to have kids. There are some men who want to have kids, but I think women want to more so have kids because they want to, like, entrap people. Oh, now you have to stuck with me or I get to be a stay-at-home wife. It's like they want to be lazy. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not trying to be rude, but I have to talk about what I'm seeing in society and with children especially because hits home to me when I see, like, child abuse. I was abused as a child. It's mentally and emotionally. Completely. Utterly. This is part of the reason why I even make this podcast, because I was, and I, like, some episodes, if you listen back to them, I dive into some of it. A lot of it I don't even want to dive into because it's just too hard for me to even talk about. I'm going to be real or honest, and I might cry on this podcast, to be honest. Just even thinking about it, it's just too hard for me to even talk about. It is. People want you to do things and be things, and there's pressure, especially if you are a black person. There is a lot of pressure. The pressure I received mostly was to be successful. Now, of course, the idea of success was not defined or not able to be defined by me. It was defined by other people. So when we're talking about, like, these women and their manipulations, yes. So it's like, say you're dating, or say you're trying to go date someone or whatever. It's like, I see so many people like, oh, I was successful. I manipulated them into giving me, like, their number or something. It's like, I find that it's a really strange marker of success that you drop the pencil and Ricky talked to you and all this kind of stuff. Like, when you could just ask Ricky yourself, like, I successfully, like, goaded somebody into doing all these different things that I, like, that just proves to me you're toxic. Like, maybe that's my different point of view. Again, if you watch or listen to the last episode, I talk about neurodivergence a little bit, along with the non-singularity. But I don't know. There's so many different things I see in human consciousness. I hear in human consciousness. I hear with people who claim that they're woke, like woke culture, which I'm gonna probably make another episode about woke culture, because that's a whole thing that I feel like it's a sham in and of itself as well. But I just keep seeing people who don't let kids live their life. Like, if a child wants to be many children don't want to be plumbers. There's some children who, there might be a child who wants to be a plumber. I'm not trying to shade you if you are. But like a plumber or a custodian is not necessarily the most desired job. It's not the high ranking list of jobs. And it's like, okay, so don't shame them if they're doing that, especially now when they're getting paid big bucks for doing that, because nobody wants to do it, so they get paid big money for doing that. I don't do it, but I don't know, they get some money. But what my thing is like, I see so many people, like, if that's what somebody wanted to do, like if that's legitimately what someone wanted to do, it's like the shame and the shade and the pressure that, like, oh, you're not really being successful, you're doing this. It's like, but are you letting that child live their life? Like, if that child wanted to do that, why not let them? Like, I guess I take the more dad approach for that stuff. It's like, if someone's gonna make a mistake, let them make the mistake. Like, I see so many women who want to control so much, and maybe this has been my life. Like this, I was raised in a single mother era where, like, we had a whole bunch of single mothers and, like, deadbeat dads. But, like, as I'm growing up, and I seen, like, all those single mothers, most of the time, what they really did was they tried to raise their children, especially if they had sons, to be the type of man, dad, father, whatever, that they didn't have or that they wanted to have. But a lot of these women have not done the same type of work. Like, men talk about what they want in a woman, and so many times women are so stuck on, they just want a body. They just want a body. Like, some guys probably do just want a body, but I'm telling you, most of them want something more than just a body, and the things that they want, they're not being offered. It's 4:44 on my little microwave clock as I'm saying that for the thing. And this clock is wrong. It's not even the correct time. This whole thing about this hotel room, okay? There's a whole other thing I gotta talk about for this hotel room, because that's a whole big mess. But I don't, like, I get so disgusted seeing people not want to take someone else's feelings or anything else into consideration. But, and these are the same people, energies, entities, anything like that, where if you treat them the same way they treat you, they cannot take it. I cannot tell you the last 2 weeks how often me treating someone the way they treated me has pissed them off. And it's like, I thought, it's like that old thing, treat people the way you want to be treated. It's like people don't do that. And that's not even true. We really should be treating people the way they want to be treated. I learned that in college, and I was like, oh, that was like a revelation moment for me. But, like, I see so many people doing, like, I need to think selfishly trying to control someone into doing this, selfishly trying to make someone this way, selfishly trying to do this and that, whatever else. Like, do you know how many people I see, especially when we're talking about LGBTQ people in general, want to convert someone one way or the other, convert them to being straight, convert them to being gay, convert them to being trans, convert them to being whatever. It's like, can you just stop trying to change people? People naturally are supposed to change themselves without all the added pressure to change them to fit whatever you need them to fit. Now, granted, a lot of people don't elect to change. They do not choose to change. That's fine. Leave them in the dust. I'm a person, I choose to change constantly, a lot, because I want things in my life, and I choose to change primarily because I'm trying to deprogram myself, whatever, or debrief myself, I guess is what you would really call it in, like, spy terms. To, like, debrief myself on my old programming that was taught, because it wasn't who I was. It wasn't who I am. I was never taught to be who I am as a person. I was taught to be who someone else wanted me to be. And that's, for an empathic person, that's really, really rough, because when you're raised by people and you're told not to be yourself, you're told to please other people. And people talk about, oh, there's people pleasing, this and that. Like, there's one thing to be a people pleaser naturally. It's another thing to be, or you're taught you're supposed to be a people pleaser. Like, your whole job of living is to make everybody else happy besides yourself. Like, that's the kind of, like, that's what I'm talking about with this. That's like, if it has not come across, the point has not been clear, this is the point I'm trying to make with this, because that's the life I had lived. 43:34 that's like the time clock on my little recording app here for the podcast. That's like the to the level, the degree that I'm talking to. Like, Britney Spears has a song called "Born to Make You Happy." I used to play that all the time on repeat, but that was like the song of my life, especially when I was a little kid, like, or younger. I used to say younger. But like, that's so, like, you're not taught to be yourself. You're not taught to just, it's not, if you make someone happy, good. If you don't, bad. It's that, oh, you have ruined, you are a failure at everything if someone else is not happy. Now, mind you, whether your happiness is involved or not, it is not even a factor. Like, and this is the type of stuff I'm talking about. Like, I was raised to the point where, like, my happiness was not even a factor. It was not a part of the equation. No one ever considered, okay, so what if Shadow's happy? No one cares. Like, in this particular situation, is Ricky happy? Do you care? No, you're so busy trying to get him to do whatever it is you want him to do, ask you out, pick up the pencil, do this, do that. You don't even consider Ricky. You don't. And I think so many times women do not consider men's emotions, women do not consider men's feelings, but yet they want them to feel a certain type of way. And it's like, what do you mean you don't feel the way I told you to feel, you don't feel the way I thought you were going to feel? It's like, because I'm not who you think I am. I'm a whole different person. And I see it so often where women get lost in that. Like, I don't know if it's the fantasy or whatever, but they get lost in, okay, I want this to go this way. Be damn everybody else. I mean, everybody else has to say what everybody else thinks. But if a man were to do that, all of a sudden all you hear all day is crying from all these women. He just tried to get my number. He grabbed me. He didn't even care. Any of that stuff. It's like, okay, but if you did the same thing, you would be like, oh, you're just weak. If the man was complaining, like, she just didn't give a fuck. She just just tried to have a kid, or she just forced herself on me. They're like, oh, you're just a weak man. Like, it's disgusting. These gender roles, these identities that we have, it's disgusting, the lack of emotional intelligence we have towards different people for different things, especially towards men. There's a lack of emotional intelligence coming towards male or masculine energies. There's a brazen, like, it, to me, it just comes off as just laziness on the feminine energy part. Like, I'm gonna make you do this, like. But then they don't understand that after they try to make someone do something, how much they get resented or how much they get hated for it afterwards. It's like I see so many people, especially women and mothers at that, and I'm not trying to, like, shade mothers or fathers or anything like that, but I see a lot of them. It's like you don't, like, the old people in the home, like, well, they don't come visit me. Would you even treat them right? Like, when I was selling insurance, one of the things I kept noticing is a lot of people like, well, ain't nobody finna come and help me or take care of me. My family don't care about me. This is that. I'm like, did you care about your family? Like, are you taking any responsibility for the role that you played in the part that nobody wants to deal with you? If you broke, destitute, and alone in this home somewhere, and we talking about getting some life insurance for your family so they can fucking bury you, but you talking about your family, you don't care what happens, because they don't like you. They never nice to you anyway. Were you nice to them at all? Did you do anything for them? Did you give them were you the reason why they put you, locked you away in this dungeon, terrible home somewhere, and they can't, like, you know what I mean? Like, are you taking responsibility for any part of the part you played in that? Because a lot of people don't. They just don't. They're so busy trying to blame somebody else or this or that. And I talked about it in this podcast before, but I read this when I was really, really young about Japanese culture, and I'm not sure how true this is, especially now to this date, because I've seen so many different articles about stuff, and fake news is a thing. Where the Japanese culture does not have blame like that. They just don't blame things. It's like, I'm not gonna blame Susie for knocking the pencil down. It's just that the pencil just fell. Like, not Susie knocked over the pencil, but the pencil fell. It's like, just state it simply just happened, and not have to blame somebody or put all this emotional whatever work into somebody else. People know words can be used in that way. Most of our communication is nonverbal. So if words can be that hurtful, imagine how nonverbal things said and done can be hurtful and manipulative, and just be mindful of your energy, y'all. But my point in saying what I'm saying is that I see so many people do this where they want to force something. Like, they want to force a narrative to the point where they blind themselves on all the opportunities or all the possibilities or all the different outcomes. It's like, being so focused on one outcome that you're blind to all the other outcomes, or being blind to even being blind to all the information involved. Like, especially when it comes to, this is kind of rambly, I'm sorry, but it's like, especially when it comes to children, like, you're so fixated on what you want this child to do, what you want this child to be, you're not even considering what the child wants. How many children have grown up depressed? How many children have grown up with trauma? How many children have grown up and felt unloved and unwanted? And it's like, you can do all the stuff. You can buy all the things. It doesn't make them feel loved and wanted if you don't care about who they are as a person. If you're not saying, oh, I want you to be you, I want you to be happy with your life, you're so busy saying, I need you to live the way I want you to live. That does not breed happiness into children. It does not breed happiness into just people in general. It just doesn't. But if you teach a child from that small, like, even like a little baby, that they're not supposed to be happy, like, again, I was raised by narcissistic people, narcissistic personalities. I was taught that I'm not supposed to be happy. If I'm happy, it's a problem. If I'm happy, that means everybody else must be suffering because I'm not doing something that they want me to do. This is what I was taught. And I still believe this to this day. I know a lot of people may think that's not true. It is. It's not. I don't know at this point. Like, I'm in this hotel room because I want to be in this hotel room. I don't want to be in the house with the bad energy I was in, right? Now, the way I was taught makes me think that because I want to be here, that I'm hurting someone else because they don't want me to be here because it goes against whatever they want me to do. I don't, like, whoever these mystical people are in the background, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, but that's my point. Like, the same thing with the robot bears at the zoo. It's like, you tell people things when they're young enough, and it's hard to shake that. It's hard to shake these different ideas, hard to shake these different beliefs. And I see so many people who want to have a kid, and it's like, but for why? If you're not in a space to have a kid, if you're the type of person where you're going to make that kid feel like this, then maybe you shouldn't have a kid. Like, ask yourself, truly ask yourself, and I don't mean to, like, attack the people on this podcast or anything like that if you're listening, because I enjoy you listening, thank you. Also, check out the livingshower.me to pick up anything, bookings, Assassin Apparel, Sage, Palo Santo. Get your spirit clean. But my point being is that if you ask yourself, like, okay, if a 3-year-old came and asked you about this and that, what would you tell them? Like, if a 3-year-old came and asked you about sex, what would you tell them? I know we have this don't say gay bill, but now what would you tell them? Like, what would you really tell these people? What would you say? Like, do you have any type of any answer? What would you say? What would you say if a 10-year-old came up to you and was talking about aliens? Like, what would you say? Would you tell them it's not real? The same way, like, if a 15-year-old came to you talking about Santa Claus, would you just try and kill that child's dream? Or would you just let that child live in innocence? it's so funny because innocence is the thing. Like, once you get older, people act like you're like, what's wrong with you if you're innocent in some kind of way. But when you're younger, you're supposed to be innocent. But when you're older, it's like you're supposed to have killed the innocence at some point. So it's like, what age is the innocence supposed to die? And how is it supposed to die? Because everybody feels like they need to kill it in some kind of way. Like, what is this? What is this life? What is this? What is this like? What is this way that we're going about doing things where we're so inconsiderate? And people just in general are inconsiderate. And I truly, as hard as it may sound, I really feel like the human race has failed because they don't. Empathy is a learned skill. We know that empathy is a learned skill. And so many people have not been taught. So many people just simply don't want to learn. And so many people don't seem to understand why it's even important to learn that skill. And then other people learn it for manipulative purposes. Not even for like help or to be a better person, but to be a worse person. And it's like, so I don't know, maybe this is just me explaining my loss of hope in humanity, but it's like going forward, I keep seeing people, oh, I need to have a kid, or oh, you gotta have a kid, or someone has a kid, or I want you to have a kid. Oh, well, I want you. Like, that's one thing I have heard. I want you to have a kid. Now, how can you want someone else to have a kid, or you want to have a kid by somebody else who's not, like, it's just like the lack of consideration for other people's feelings is like skyrocketing, it seems. But I mean, it's always been high, but like, I guess I'm like running into more and more people who have that. I guess even like, it's astounding me how much or how just ill-considerate the world is. It's really like, I don't mean like cyberbullying behind the keyboard, although that's a thing too, but I keep seeing it, and I don't know. I it bothers me. So I said this is gonna be a weird one. I'm near the end of my little recording limit for my podcast app. If you resonate with anything in this, or if you feel what I'm talking about, or you understand what I'm saying, you know, go on Twitter. It's The Living Shadow on Twitter. The Living Shadow, THE, Living Shadow on Twitter. The Living Shadow on Instagram and TikTok, and Tumblr, and Snapchat. And The Living Shadow on Facebook. The THE, Living Shadow on Facebook. So, those are all the different things. I do have a Reddit community, a Discord community, and Reddit, Discord, and a Facebook group for the assassination. So if you're listening to this, welcome. I would like to consider you an assassin, a member of the assassination. Just you know, group of people who understand, and like a community. I really want to build a community of people who at least can not necessarily explain themselves, but like tell me what's really going on out there in their walks of life, you know? Tell me what it is. Tell me what it is. Also, visit thelivingshadow.me where you can see everything I'm doing, basically. Yeah, but this is kind of rambly. I don't mean to be too rambly, but I also want to put out there what I'm seeing, and I have not done a podcast because of I'm still trying to like decode from all the trauma I had to experience in the last 2 weeks being in a household that reminded me of all of that. Like, it all just came. What Celine said, it all's coming back to me now. Don't judge my singing. Thank you all for listening. Thank you. Remember, we are the assassination. This has been The Living Shadow on the Shadowcast. And I hope you all are doing way better than I am right now. I just put it to you that way. Thank you for listening. If you're watching the video, thank you for watching the video. The Shadowcast Podcast on YouTube, youtube.com/C/The Shadowcast Podcast. And yeah. We'll see y'all later, or talk to you later. Bye-bye. I'm just gonna put childhood trauma. Traumatic control, actually. That's what we're gonna do. This episode is gonna be called Childhood Traumatic Control. Now, mind you, it's traumatizing to control a child. But, you know what's even worse? When you're trying to tell a child which traumas they can or cannot have, that's also a thing. That is also a thing. And I'm hearing these spirits from behind the veil, I guess, talk shit from me recording this. I don't really care. I'm just annoyed that this happens way too often. I might be crazy. Who knows? Actually, I really do think I'm crazy. I'm just gonna put that out there. I think I might be, like, certifiably insane. Probably need a straight jacket. Yep, probably need a straight jacket. Well, thank you for watching as I'm trying to put these little segments of the podcast together. Oh, hair. Thank you all for watching this video, the Shadowcast podcast. Thank you, 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 thank you. I appreciate you. Bye bye. Be blessed.